Good evening, little dreamers. Dream a little dream. Hey, tonight my name is Missing. It always is missing, actually, and I'm from the Shaler North Hills Library, and I feel thankful to be one of your children's librarians. And tonight we have a story, a beautiful book by Ann Turner, illustrated by James Ransom, and he's done some of the others that we've read too. This one is called My Name is Truth. The Life of Sojourner Truth, and that's Sojourner Truth. And this is written in the first person, so when I read, it'll sound as if I'm speaking for Sojourner Truth. I don't think we've had too many of those. I'm not sure, but I cannot recall. But anyway, so it's something new. My name is Truth. The Life of Sojourner Truth. My mama was a slave woman called Mama, with sweet arms and eyes like a hawk. I had a daddy too, born free. They loved all 12 of us and had to see us sold off one by one, like horses for work. Their hearts most broke. Mama told me to look up to the stars at night, shining over my brothers and sisters. We never hardly saw them again. My heart had 12 holes in it, I know. I got bought for $100 when I was 9. At least they spoke my language, Dutch. Next place, I was bigger now, worth $150. They did not speak words I knew. I was always getting beat. Once he fired up a bunch of green sticks in the fire, hardened like stone, and beat me until the blood ran, those marks that will never go away. I can feel them like ridges under my dress. Then Master Dumont bought me. He was not so bad, but the mistress was evil. They thought my back was a cart for hauling rocks, wood, timber, and grain. I worked hard as a man. Did they ever see me, Isabella, under those loads? Time came, he said, Isabella, you're a good woman. You can go free 1 year early. But he broke his promise. I determined to leave. I owned myself now. I was not a slave. I spun 100 pounds of wool to make up for leaving, crept out of the door in the darkness, my baby Sophia clutched in my arms, and ran and walked and ran and walked for miles, looking over my shoulder. Would he chase me? Would he not? Until God showed me the way to a kind family that took me in, the baby too. Welcome, they said. Had anyone ever said that word to me before? And showed me a fine, wide room with a white bed to sleep in. I never slept in a bed before. Just let me creep under, and it will be like a shelter of leaves. Finally, sleep came to my eyes. Worked for the Van Wagrens for a few years, then the terrible news struck my heart like lightning. The evil Dumont mistress sold my son Peter way down south. They are not allowed to do that by law. I marched up to the Dumont house to meet that lady. I want my son back. Get me my son. She laughed. What a lot of fuss over a little colored boy. But I demanded my son back. I felt as tall as a tree inside, courage racing around inside my heart. I got lawyers to help, and finally Peter came home, his back a mess of scars, his soul too. Frightened of his mama at first, but he came to know me at last. I worked in New York City for a while. Won't spend long on that. Met some bad people, some good ones. But God was leading me east to preach. I left at dawn, and God spoke in my heart a new name that fits me like a new dress made just for me. I am now sojourner because I travel far and long to tell news of God's truth. In meetings and gatherings, people like to hear me talk. I think with a name like Sojourner Truth, a body has some respect at last. I found a new home in Massachusetts at a silk mill where all men and women were equal. I was happy there, bought a little house, my very first, and preached even more. One night at a camp meeting, there was a bunch of rowdies kicking up a storm. I was afraid they'd come for me, the only colored woman in the crowd. I hid behind a trunk, and then my heart spoke, "Sojourner, why are you weak? Isn't God with you right now?" I strode out and climbed onto a wagon back, spoke and sang and preached to those rowdies until they were calm. Something about my voice is like a blanket on a fretful baby. Then at times my voice is like Gabriel's trumpet, firing people up, telling them the good news of salvation and the terrible days of slavery. People just can't believe an ex-slave woman can speak truth and power. Once at a rally, a man jumped up and shouted, "You must be a man. You are tall as one, powerful as one. You want me to show you I am a woman?" I threatened to open my dress, but others made him back down in shame. I showed them my truth then. I've told my story to Olive Gilbert, a kind woman at the mill in Northampton. I see all those words creeping across the page as she writes. I could never make sense of writing or reading. I will go on the road again, selling my narrative of Sojourner Truth and the photographs of me, those shadow pictures bringing in money to feed the real woman. Sometimes I sit in amazement in some fine living room, remembering I was a slave, working in sweat, beaten, sleeping on hard floors, and now I sleep in a real bed and rally others with fiery words. I think of my daddy, my brothers and sisters like 12 shining stars. I will see them and my own children again someday. Mama will put her sweet arms around me, and I will be home at last. And this is My Name is Truth. And that is a powerful story. And I think that what gets to me about it so much is that all of these years later, things like this, not exactly like this, but that same kind of prejudice and hurt and treating people like they aren't equal still goes on. But one of my dreams that I see coming true is the kindness that is just going to grow and grow as you grow and grow, and as your super special grown-ups grow and grow. And so we'll just keep getting better and treating each other better. Thank you, my friends. Be sure to give yourself some loving. Kiss those beautiful brains. Kiss that loving heart. Look in the mirror and say, "Hey, good looking," because you are just the way you are made. See you tomorrow.